All right, so now we have some basic lines, center lines drawn in there to help us with some construction here as well. And um, the one other one in this version of AutoCAD, um, using the arc command is probably not the easiest method for us right now. As you look on the print, we do have another center line that's kind of coming with a radius of 3 inches off of the center line. And probably the easiest way for us to generate that right now is just to use the circle tool. So I'm going to say the circle tool here, and our first point is going to be 0, 0, and then this radius, it will be a 3. So we'll type in 3 and enter. That provides me with a arc, more or less, for me to use, because I'm going to need these intersection points when I create this drawing. So let's go ahead now and go back in, activate the object line layer. We'll go ahead and get some of these circles in. So I'm going to put a circle at center. So I'm going to pick the center point up here. Now in this case, again, it is a diameter. So I'm going to go D, enter, 1, enter to place that one. Right click, repeat that last command. We're going to pick up on the center again here as well. And D, enter, 2, enter. So for the diameter there, that 2-inch diameter on the hub. Now notice I did a little different keying sequence on that using the enter key. So play around. If it doesn't work at first, use the left click as opposed to enter. Just try a couple of different ways to do it. Now we're going to start to work on that slot. And if you're really astute on what you're looking at here, you'll notice that the center of the 180-degree arc for down here where that slot starts, and it goes along this radius and ends right here. And we have a 1/2-inch radius arc on both of these circles. So I'm going to go back still. I'm not going to use the arc command. I still don't think that's the best choice for this tool to use. So I'm going to just create some circles here again. In this case, I'm going to use the circle at this point. Now, you know from looking at the print that this point is at 3, 0. So, and I'll place that at that intersection point. So, and again, this is a 1/2-inch radius, so 0.5, enter. So that gives us our 180-degree part of the slot going this way. Now we also need to do the same thing up here. So again, I'll right click, repeat the last command, which was the circle command. But now here I don't have any way to hit that intersection point, and I haven't really calculated out what that should be. I could, but since I have an easier method down here with the object snap, I'm just going to go down to my object snap and click on intersection. So there's my intersection point. Now I can click on that point, and again, this radius here is the same as before, 0.5. Now take a look down here. Notice that 0.5 radius is still active because that's what we did the last time. So I could go ahead and enter a value here, but I don't need to. I can just hit enter and it automatically places that for me. So I've got those circles in there. So at this point, I'm going to create another circle. So I'm going to right click, repeat the last command, but now in this case, I'm going to use TangencyRadius again. So we'll click on TangencyRadius, come over here to your object snaps, make sure that your tangent object snap is on, because that's the one that we want. And then now I'm going to go, all right, so I need a tangent from here to here. Now, specify the radius at this point. So what is that radius? Well, if we have a 3-inch radius from center here, so from here to here was 3 inches, and we're going to the outside. Well, we didn't do the outside. We're going from here to here, and that is the 1/2 inch radius from there. So we got to add a ½ inch to the 3. So our radius here is going to be 3.5 on the radius. Okay, now notice it places it going that direction. So why? This is what we got to figure out here. So again, I went and I clicked from here to there first. So not sure if that was the best way. Let's try that again. Repeat the last command. Again, it's going to be the _tangency. Now I'm going to click from here to here. Make sure that you're on the right circle, 3.5 again, and click that way. Nope, it doesn't help out at that point. Let's go ahead and escape out of this command. Delete that one. Now notice I put the same circle on top of the circle, so now let's delete this one. All right, now that I can make sure that I'm where I need to be, let's come back and try it again. So I'm going to come back here, _tangency. Let's see, I'm going to go from here. So let's kind of take a look at where we're going at, where it's picking up. So sometimes where that cursor picks up matters. So we're going to go from here to here, and I'm going to keep my cursor on this side, and we're going to say, again, that's 3.5, enter. Now it's where I want it to be. I think before when we did it, our cursor was over here. So watch your cursor to make sure that it's where you need to be placing it. Again, now I can come up to my trim tool, and I'm going to trim and get rid of all of this. Notice how it's making me do this in quadrants because our center lines are kind of keeping that and kind of trimming the lines to those other lines. So I'm going to escape twice to get out of the trim cut and back to my circle. I'm going to go here to the _tangency once more. So in this case, let's see, remember I said maybe it affects us if we go from 0 to 180 degrees, or if we start at, say, 45 and go to 0. Sometimes that may make a difference. So let's try. I'm going to go from here to here. Now, the radius in this case, if it was 3.5 inches before, we're going a ½ inch the other way this time. So it would be 2.5 on our radius. Make sure that your cursor is facing the direction you want it to go and hit enter. There we go. So that's where we want to be. Now, again, to save some trim time, let me come to my layers here. Let me turn my center lines off. So let me minimize that again. Now I can go back and watch. If I trim it out this time, notice it gets rid of the whole rest of that circle. And we can see now too, we also need this trimmed out and that trimmed out. So we'll go ahead and get a couple more in here now that I've got this. Let's turn that center line back on. Layer, so center line layers back on. And now I'm going to create the couple more circles from around here to create there's like a hub around this slot. It's kind of the way I'm interpreting it. We can't really tell that for sure from the way the drawing is. We would need a second view to find out what the actual designer had intended for this part. But for right now, we'll just kind of draw this as the 2D front view. So here's my center line on this one. Again, this is a 1-inch radius, so I can still use my radius, hit 1 inch. So now notice on mine, my system was glitching a little bit. Don't worry about that if it happens. It might. So you generally just have to kind of zoom in or zoom out. Okay, so this is going to be a 1 inch as well. So there's the diameters for that. Now I'm going to do the same thing to create so a circle _tangency. So in this case, I'm going to go from tangent to here to tangent to here. I'm going to leave my cursor down here in the direction that I want this radius to be. And now on this one, we had the 3-inch radius from here to there. So that was our 3-inch radius. And then we've got another 1-inch radius to here. So our radius would be 3 plus 1 for 4. So 4 is our radius. And notice see what happened there? My cursor was on this side, so I let that drift while I was kind of going through stuff. So let's kind of come back here for just a second. I'm going to go back to the circle command, TangencyRadius. So I'm going to pick up on this one and this one, and I'm going to make sure that I'm over here with my radius. Again, 4 is automatically in there, so that's just good. So I'm just going to click enter. All right, still didn't quite do it right. So hit escape twice. Now I can delete that twice, or I also have the undo button that I can use. Undo button is right here. So let's undo that one, just so we can kind of go back here, see what it was that we did. So back to our circle, our TangencyRadius. Now, in this case, I'm going to go the opposite way. Remember, a lot of times it wants you to define the direction that you want. So I'm going to go from here to there and bring my cursor back over here. We already said this is going to be a 4-inch radius. So there's my 4 inches. Still not doing what I want it to do. So something else is kind of goofy on that. And we're going to have to figure that out. So I'm going to let you think about it. Play around for a couple of minutes. I'm going to pause this video, so I want you to pause the video at this point too. Try to play around and see if you can get that to place it in the right location, and then I'll come back in the next video and we'll go over it.